Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
If you're gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Why, hey there, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 239 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I do appreciate you making my podcast one of them. If you are enjoying this podcast, I absolutely love it when you take a screenshot and share it on your socials. So maybe if you haven't done that, you could do that and you could tag me, because I would love to get to know you and follow your business and learn a little bit more about what you do, as well as you learning a little bit more about me and my business as you listen to this podcast. Did you get a chance to listen to last week's episode? Last week's episode was all about those super pieces of gold, tiny little pieces of gold that I call QR codes. I got a lot of feedback last week about QR codes, including some pretty cool examples of how people have been using QR codes in their business. So I appreciate everyone who sent me a DM and an email and even sent me a text message around that. I will be sharing all of that a little bit later in another podcast, or probably in another social media post that I'll put out. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode, head back to episode 238 when you are finished here, because this week I have a guest that I'm stoked to have. Her name is Michelle Smith, and she is a freaking rock star. You need to listen to this one. But before I get started with the gorgeous Michelle, I wanted to give a shout out to this week's podcast sponsor, BL Management Consultant, or known as BLMC. BLMC's motto is "Your People Working Well," and they've been trusted partners in the health and safety world since 1999. My son was born in 1999, so I know just how long ago that actually was. But they're not just about traditional health and safety. They are about working with the entire person, both psychologically and physically, because both safeties are really key to achieving people working well and thriving in the workplace, and of course, being compliant. So BLMC have worked with brands such as Lifeline, the Brown Family Wine Group, one of my favorite family wine groups, Hume Bank, and many, many more organizations. They have some upcoming courses that I wanted to tell you about around support in workplaces, including a mental health first aid course on the 2nd and 3rd of May, and a resilience first aid course on the 18th and 19th of May. Their courses do book out often, so if you are keen, then contact their office. Their email address is office@blmc.com.au, and make an inquiry or book your spot. And of course, you can find out more about BLMC by going to their website, all the W's, blmc.com.au, or come to my show notes and you can get all the links in there. But let's get back to my guest, Michelle. Michelle's business is called Aussie Biz Chick. And if you haven't seen her on your Instagram, then you need to sack your algorithm, because she is all over it on there. And she's also a great email marketer too, I must say. But the reason why I'm so excited to have her and to do this episode with her is because today we are talking about subscription boxes. Aussie Biz Chick, which is Michelle's business, is a monthly subscription box to help you grow your business. Maybe having a subscription model, I guess, inside your business is not something you've thought of. Although be prepared to be convinced that it just could be a revenue stream for your business. As I talk, there's a couple of my clients and friends that definitely do this incredibly well. Michelle clearly does it incredibly well as well. But perhaps getting your products or your services into a subscription box might be a really good marketing tactic for you to invest in, and really just looking outside the square. Anyway, my chat with Michelle is one of my favorites. I've admired her business from afar all through the pandemic and was stoked that she agreed to come on my podcast. So strap in and let's have a chat with Michelle all about subscription boxes. Michelle, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today. Your business model I've been watching with envy and curiosity for quite some time. So, hello and welcome.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Like, I'm so excited to talk to you. You've got an amazing business. Well, businesses. You've done so much, actually. When I was looking at your bio, I was like, holy crap. So, yeah, I'm so excited to talk. Like, yes, let's do this.
Oh, it's going to be so good, so good. So, Michelle, for my audience who may not have come across you, which I'm not quite sure how, or they'd like to learn a little bit more about you, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I started a subscription box business called Aussie Biz Chic back in the height of the pandemic. And, I was working a corporate job at the time and I was like, I want to do something fun. And so I started Aussie Biz Chic, which is a monthly delivery of like books and resources to female entrepreneurs in Australia, helping to upskill in business, but, make it fun. And if you're a big stationery lover like me, you get awesome stationery in there as well. Maybe I shouldn't say love. I'm like an addict, a stationery addict. And yeah, I just wanted to start something fun. And since then, we've grown to 1,000+ members. We've got a warehouse now. We've got an amazing community, and it's just been a whirlwind. And I also now teach other aspiring subscription box entrepreneurs who want to start their own subscription boxes and how to do that. And I have an online course for that. So it's been a journey. It's been like 2 years has gone so quick. It's been crazy, but it's been so fun.
Massive to do in 2 years. Where did the idea come from? Where did the spark come from? You're in a corporate job, you're in the middle of a pandemic, you're looking for fun. Why subscription boxes? What was the inspiration?
Yeah, I always get asked this question. I think some people get a little surprised by my answer here, but me and my partner Luke, my fiancé now, fiance, we knew we wanted to start something together, and we were actually decided on the business model first, which was the subscription box model, because we came across this really interesting article. I get up every morning and I look at articles. I love reading the news, and I saw this article around subscription boxes in America, and in the UK, it's huge over there. So there's literally a subscription box for everything. And down here in Australia, not so much. It's just starting to break out and people are starting to realize this is a really cool product. And so we kind of started from there and thought, okay, cool, we want to do a sub box. And then in terms of what the sub box was going to be, I convinced Luke of this because obviously Luke didn't come up with Aussie Biz Chic, but I was like, I love reading and I love stationery. And I was in my own business journey too. And I was like, I want people to do this with me. Come on the journey with me. Let's read books together. Let's have fun together. And that's kind of where it all like started. And I never knew about how big the female entrepreneur space was till I really dug into this journey. And it's like amazing. There's so many different things out there, products, communities that support each other in this small business, female entrepreneur space. It just blew my mind. I was like, I want to be a part of this. And that's how kind of Aussie Biz Chic came about. And now here we are.
Here we are, indeed, indeed. Yeah, like I guess the curiosity for me was one of my friends, Liz. She actually has a subscription box for cake decorating. She runs the Australian Cake Decorators Network. So shout out to Liz. And I've always been fascinated of her videos. And it was a conversation I had with one of my other clients. So shout out to Jane that has Ruby's Home Store, where I was like, what about a subscription model? And anyway, it was a throwaway conversation that we had. And next thing I know, she signed up for your course. And her business is just, well, from the outside, it looks like it's exploded. I look at the boxes in her lounge room and her her carport that she has to fill with subscription stuff now. And it probably gives me a little bit of anxiety, but there is clearly a need for it. She has a subscription box that has home goods. So it's called Hometastic. Yeah, I think it's called Hometastic
box. Yeah.
Yeah, Hometastic
box. It's so smart because she does like it's like a quarterly box and it's like it matches the season. So if you want to
Yep.
decorate your home, like maybe for the Easter time, and I know she did like a Christmas box.
Yes.
So it's like, it makes sense. Like if you're a home decor freak and you love to decorate your home
Yep.
based on the season, she gives you that. And that's so
Yeah.
cool. And her boxes are huge. She does such a great job. And like, I remember I met her at SheCon, which was this event, and you know, she had a bit of a oopsie too one time where because she's got like ceramics and stuff in her boxes, she's got to be
Mhm.
careful about making sure they get broken in transit and things like that. I was like, oh, I've had a mistake too, that's happened to me as well. So it's just so like interesting to see like other sub boxes, their journey and things
Yeah.
like that. And I love the sub box model because, as you said, it's like the recurring revenue model, so you can really build that community, and then you've just got that recurring revenue month to month or quarter to quarter, whatever the sub box is. But it's just like such a great way to have a steady source of revenue that you know is going to come in during the year.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned, like, when we were talking about how you came up with this business model, just how big it is in other countries. And the thing that you said was there's one for everything. So
Oh my
I
god.
think that's something really interesting to explore, because people will be like, well, I don't have a tangible product, or, I just sell ice creams, or whatever it is that people might be thinking. But can you sort of give us any examples of boxes you think that are really left of field?
There's one that was like a Christian religion box, so helping you get closer to your faith. There's another one was like Korean snacks, like Asian snack box. So instead of just a normal snack box, she put a twist. It was like a Korean snack box if you love kind of Asian snacks. I'm half Asian, so like my mum always got me obsessed with like the Asian type of snacks and things like that. There's been a fishing box. So if you like
Yeah.
fishing, so you could get said tackle and like bait, for you every time you go fishing. So there's so many like different ones with a twist. You just got to work out what your niche is
Yeah.
and really
What's
delve
unique.
deep into like what they would love to get. Like there's
Yeah.
even ones with other, like I'm a book box basically for businesses, but there's ones that are book boxes that just do romance novels, and they do like a tea and a romance book and a bit of chocolate every month. Or
Yeah.
there's ones that are like thrillers, right? If you really like thriller books, you could subscribe to a thriller book subscription box, right? So there's so many different ones you can do. And like there's this huge marketplace, and you can go on there and there's so many. You can see so many different sub boxes that are in the US and the UK that you
I
don't
think
even
I've been down that rabbit hole.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, and it's so
Yes.
cool though. Like I think I saw one was like building ones, like craft
Yeah.
boxes and things like that,
Yeah.
cooking boxes.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
gosh, there is so many.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that I wanted to explore with you today was, and we've kind of mentioned it, but I wanted to highlight it, was, I know Liz's boxes are monthly. You said that yours was monthly. Jane's seasonal, perhaps quarterly, maybe around
Quarterly.
there with a few other things. So it doesn't have to be a monthly subscription box.
No,
You don't
no,
have
it
to do
doesn't.
this on a monthly basis. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on the timing of them?
Yeah, so there's so many different ones you could do. There's bi-monthly, there's monthly, there's quarterly, there's like maybe even do 2 in the year, right? So there's like so many different ones you could do, and it just depends on what you think your audience would want. But also if you've got something that's like you feel, I always talk about like perishable and non-perishable items. So if you feel your item needs more time to be consumed by your customer, then you might want to think of like, okay, maybe it can't be month to month. It might have to be bi-monthly, So for me, I think it's easy. Well, I can't talk for everybody here, but for me, like I would easily read like a book in a month. I mean, I read like 4 to 5 books in a month. So for me, like I was like, yeah, reading a book a month is fine. Like if you can, dedicate a page every night or something like that. So for me, I was like monthly. And I also try to combine like non-perishable and perishable items. So like notebooks, they'll perish in a while. So I know I can bring back a notebook every maybe 3-4 months, right? I'll have snacks, they're perishable. So they'll get rid of in the month. So think about your box, and like if you do have non-perishable or perishable items, like what's the length of time you think's gonna be worthwhile for somebody to consume it to be ready for the next one. So they're really, really excited. Another good one is a candle box. I love candle ones because it's like a candle gets used up and you're like, oh, I need another candle to make my home smell
Candle
nice.
boxes.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, perfect. I've finished this one. This one's just come right in time for me to use monthly, weekly, whatever it is.
Yeah. Now you said you started this in the pandemic, which I can imagine, we couldn't get out shopping. We also had a little bit more cash up our sleeves because we weren't going out for dinners and going on big overseas holidays, or really any holiday at all, if we're honest. So have you found that it's just continued on, or have you found a bit of a drop since people have been able to get out and about? What are your thoughts there?
Definitely in the pandemic, it was way bigger of a boom because I just think people at home and people were shopping more. And it's one thing I learned, especially now because, people have less disposable income. So they're going to be really, really smart about what they're going to buy. So I've definitely seen I get less members, like new members now than I did in the pandemic. So let's say in the pandemic, I was averaging about 150 to 200 new members a month. I'm probably averaging about 80 to 100 members now, which is fine. But you just got to like realize that and maybe pull back on stock for that month or whatever. But I always think like I'm lucky that I already have the community built up. I'm already still seeing that recurring revenue coming.
Yeah.
And now for me, it's just about making sure I look after my members, making sure I make it a good time and good experience for people to still keep subscribing. But of course, still on the other end, still getting new members in. Definitely the cost per acquisition is higher. So if you use ads, definitely cost per acquisition is higher. But we expected that. We expected that coming into what we're coming into. But all we could do is just keep going, be smart about our cash flow. So Luke, who's he works with me in the business, he is a gun at just like managing cash flow. Like we try to do things like make sure we've got upsells during the checkout so we can increase the order value. We always try to get rid of like any leftover stock because that's just cash sitting there. So we'll do mystery boxes. People love mystery boxes, really do. They always go like hotcakes. So there's a few things we're doing to make sure that we still have a healthy, profitable, good business, even though we're not making as many new members as we were during the pandemic. And I think a lot of e-commerce stores have experienced that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that
I'm being truthful and honest about that. There we go.
No, that's because I have a big e-commerce platform, and we have definitely seen that people who started during the pandemic have all of a sudden kind of coming into this year gone, oh, okay, so it wasn't always going to stay like that. It's like, no, unfortunately, you entered the marketplace, when it was a boom, or, the e-commerce space when it was a boom. So, but that's really interesting. Either generally or specifically, you can answer this question however you would like to answer it. But basically, okay, you have a subscription box, you have members. How do you make money? Like, where does the money come in? Does the money come in, is there a couple of different like revenue streams? Is it people paying to get things into the box? Is it also people paying for the box? What does that look like?
Yeah, so really interesting. We did a pie chart the other day where the different revenue streams for Aussie Biz Cheek. So
God, I love
our number
pie chart with revenues. It's like,
it wasn't me, it was Luke. I can't take that. Okay, that
I
was
love Luke
totally
more then.
He's the numbers guy, but it was really, really interesting. So most of the revenue and the profit comes from the box.
Yes.
And what's really great, like the longer someone is subscribed, the more profitable someone is.
Yes.
The second one is we do have like a separate shop, a secret shop that members can purchase. So we have the shop. We then have sponsorship packages. So if you'd like to get a flyer in the box, or there's different tiers, so depending on what you want. So that's another stream. And then we have my course. So I've got my course, so people who join the course. And then I've got things like speaking gigs or anything that I do personally as like a personal brand for Aussie Biz Chick. That is also a part of the pie. So that is like my main revenue streams for Aussie Biz Chick.
Okay. Wow.
Oh,
And
and affiliates. Sorry, I forgot to put that. Affiliates as well. I get that. So I'm like affiliate for Booktopia. So if I recommend any books and you buy through my link, I get a
Yeah.
little bit of a commission for that, and like any events or something like that, I could be an affiliate for. But my main
Yeah.
source of revenue is like the box.
The box. Yeah. And would you say, like, because you've had, quite a few students go through your course now, would you say that those revenue streams are quite common for people to have through their subscription boxes, or are you sort of people have to build to that?
You mean like having the different ones aside from the
Yeah.
box?
Do most people get those different ones?
The
Yeah.
flyers, in getting businesses to put their flyer in the box and paying per box. So, for example, you might do, if you want a flyer in the box, it's $1 per box. That one's a popular one. But the other thing you can do with that as well, it's either you can do it that way, or another thing you can do is if you're negotiating with suppliers, you will go like, hey, if you can come down by $3 to $4 on this product, you could put a flyer in the box as well. So
Yeah.
you can make, you're saving money that way versus getting the sponsor in. But you
Mm.
can either do it those two ways, but they're the two main ways. And the third one is definitely a shop. Like I see a lot of e-commerce ladies have the shop already and then put the subscription box.
Yes.
Or if you've
Reverse
got the
engineering.
subscription box, yeah, if you've got the subscription box and you have any leftover stock and bits and pieces, shop. You can do a little shop. And most times members will always buy past products, or new members who come in, they want to buy past products. It's always easier to sell into an existing customer base. They already trust you. They love what you do. Like even with my course, a lot of the time, most of them are already like Aussie Biz Chick members who then flown through to the course because they love the box and want to do their own thing. So it's like always so much easier to sell into that existing community. So if you've got a sub box, like, and you've got little other, I always have random leftover bits of stock sometimes that I like can't make a full box out of, just because maybe some suppliers have either under given me stock or over given me stock. So I just put them on the shop, and my shop's not a lot. Like I might have like maybe 5 things on there or 10 things on there at any given time, but they always go and I never bring them back. So I kind of have that. It's like, if you want this product, you got to get it because I'm not ordering any more of these products. So those 3 for a sub box is very, very powerful. The shop, the box, and if you can leverage your numbers and your community, people want a piece of that community and want to get in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason why I'm always shouting about building communities rather than building audiences. And you're sort of
for
really
sure.
hammering home that right now. So thank you for
No,
helping me
don't
out.
you reckon? Like, I've just
Absolutely.
been in this, like, I go in these really weird like investigation phases of like my life. Like, so I've been like watching a lot of big content creators and like influencers. It's like they build up this community, and then whenever they bring out any sort of product, anything, it always pretty much goes if they've got that community built up already. So I'm always like kind of in this thing now, like, build the community, because whatever you bring out into that community, it's going to go. They're going to love it because they love you and they've loved what you built and how you've nurtured everybody as a community, and they can relate to you. So I love that idea of community so much.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a trust thing. Basically, at the end of the day, it's a trust thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've chatted about business model, we've chatted about revenue streams. If my listener is like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, or I need to think about doing this for my business, can you give us maybe 1 or 2 hints or tips or steps that people might be able to take to see whether or not a subscription box would work for their business?
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is like just think about the short-term reason why someone would subscribe to a box, but also, this is what I always say, is why is somebody subscribing for the long term? And that's the biggest
Mm.
question you need to ask yourself when you are thinking of your subscription box idea, because it's not like a one-time purchase. You are having an ongoing relationship with somebody. So you really need to figure out why somebody would subscribe for the long term. So for example, like if I give Aussie BizChick as an example, short term, it's like, yes, you can get books and stationery and you can learn about business and you can learn about that theme of the month, or it'll be marketing or something like that. But the long term is, if you apply these skills, you'll grow your business. That's the long term. You're going to grow your business. It's like the gym. I always go back to the gym. It's like the gym, the short term is like, yes, you're getting fit and healthy, but the long term is like, you're going to have a healthy lifestyle for the rest of your life. You might live longer. You might feel better. Like, so you can't just subscribe to something and it's like you're done and like you can subscribe to it like for 1 month and then go. It doesn't work like that. So you got to think about that long-term solution.
Mm-hmm.
And then just do the research. Go and see, like, maybe go and see what's happened in the US and the UK. Like, has there been a similar box over there that's been a hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have a look there. And if you've got an existing community already, pop a thing like, oh, I have this idea, would this be something of interest?
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to do a founding members launch, and it's essentially like a pre-order. So you do it like 2 months before you even launch any sort of box at all. And that
Yep.
will give you a gauge of like if this is going to be a viable subscription
Yeah.
box for you. So definitely do those kind of 3 things. Like ask yourself what's the long-term benefits. 2, do the research out there, what's out there already. If there's nothing out there, ask some questions in groups or ask a friend who might know somebody in that niche. And then 3, like do a pre-order and see, like build the landing page, collect the emails and see if you're getting a lot of emails and seeing if people are actually interested in this idea. That's what I
Yeah.
would do.
Yeah. Start the wait list. I always find, if
Yeah.
I want to test and measure something, I put out a wait list, be
For
the
sure.
first to know, create urgency, create scarcity, and, if you've got a community, like you say, and you say there's something new coming, be the first to know, people are like,
Yeah.
I want to be first to know because it's always been a great thing that Michelle's done or that Jen's done or that Hannah's
Yeah.
done or whatever. So yeah, you've built that trust with them already. So I think that is, some really great advice for sure. Michelle, this has been such a great chat. I'm just blown away from watching your journey and watching subscription models just take off in Australia. And I think you've been definitely the forefront of that for sure. Or at least in my Instagram feed, you've been the forefront of that. So
Yay.
it's been such a great conversation. Is there anything that we haven't chatted about that you would like to share with my listener before we finish up?
I think when it comes to like subscription boxes, and if you want to start a subscription box, like if you've got a subscription box that that you're like the expert in that kind of niche, like don't be afraid to, be the leader in that and be the driver of that community and to help sell your box. I always think like building the personal brand in parallel with the box, if it makes sense that, you would be the spokesperson for that. Definitely. And then start doing like video content. And what a box is great for is video content, because you the unboxing and you can do the cute little like it's called ASMR. I don't know if everybody's heard of it, but it's like you can do just like the sound of the unboxing. Like people love that. And so it's such a fun business model, and it really lends itself to the content creation and like what you can do with video and even in images. Like, wow, some boxes look amazing in images and things like that. So it's a really great business model if you want to do it. And make sure to follow me at Aussie BizChick too. You can see all that amazing video content as well. Get some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said that a little bit quick. So if anyone is listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to not only have a look at your subscription boxes, but learn a little bit more and maybe even learn a little bit about your course for this, where's the best place for them to get in contact?
Yeah, just go to my Instagram at Aussie BizChick. And then there's also an email on there if you want to email me and say hi. And that's where you'll best find me. Like Instagram is my go-to, but I also have a website, aussiebizchick.com.au. And like that is where you'll find me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time and being so open and honest today. I'm sure that my listener is just going to be as fascinated as I am
Oh,
with this
yay.
conversation. So thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us today. And I'll have all those links in the show notes.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. I hope everyone got some value out of that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. If you've got questions or if you've got thoughts around my chat with Michelle, because how good was that? I reckon that she would have definitely got you to think outside the square as far as subscription boxes go. But if you've got thoughts or questions, head into my Like Minded Business Owners Facebook group and let's have a chat over there. And if you love this episode and found it valuable, please take 30 seconds out of your day to leave me a rating and a review if where you are listening allows you to do that. Otherwise, I'll see you next week on episode 240. I'm sorry, I just get amazed at how many episodes, and they just seem to be going quicker and quicker. So, episode 240 next week. But again, thank you to BL Management for sponsoring the podcast today. Don't forget about their upcoming courses, the Mental Health First Aid course on the 2nd and 3rd of May, and the Resilience First Aid course on the 18th and 19th of May. Contact their office to book your spot, office at BLMC, or check out their website at blmc.com.au. And if we're not hanging out on social, let's get social on social. But whatever you do, remember, my small business peep, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.